My beloved brothers and sisters, when a person sincerely walks the path of Allah, truly walks it with the heart, the soul, and complete submission, something begins to shift within them. They start seeing the world differently. They begin to realize that not every fight needs to be fought. Not every word hurled their way deserves a reply. Not every rude action or disrespect from another person should have the power to rob them of their inner peace. When your connection with Allah becomes stronger, your sense of calm no longer hinges on how others behave. Instead, your peace becomes deeply rooted in how closely your heart clings to your Creator. Your relationship with Allah becomes your anchor, and nothing, no insult, no provocation, no betrayal, can easily shake that foundation. In life, you will inevitably encounter individuals who test your patience, who poke at your insecurities, who provoke you intentionally or unintentionally. This is part of dunya, this worldly life. This temporary home is not Jannah. It is a place of tests, of discomforts, of imperfect people. But when someone tries to pull you into their storm, ask yourself, do I really want to lose my tranquility because someone else chose to lose their character? Because the moment you allow someone's behavior to dictate your reaction, you've handed over your power to them. You're no longer steering your own emotions, they are. And that's a loss far greater than any insult spoken to you. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, gave us a timeless definition of strength. He said the strong one is not the one who defeats others in wrestling. True strength, he said, is found in the one who controls himself in the heat of anger. Let that sink in. Strength isn't in how sharp your tongue is. It isn't found in how quickly you can clap back or how loud your voice becomes in an argument. No. Real power is in silence when your ego is burning for retaliation. Real strength is in choosing a dua over a curse, in turning to wudu instead of warfare, in walking away instead of lashing out. Sometimes anger is not about the other person. Most of the time, it's a mirror, reflecting something unhealed within ourselves. When you find yourself constantly irritated, triggered by people's comments or behavior, it's often a sign that your soul is hungry for dhikr, that your heart is dry and it's yearning for the spiritual nourishment that comes only through remembrance of Allah. Remember, dhikr brings clarity, salah resets your patience, Qur'an recharges your strength. We need to deeply internalize this. Life will never be perfectly fair. People will never be perfectly kind. If you expect perfection in your interactions, you are setting yourself up for disappointment. Even the most righteous, the most beloved to Allah, our prophets, were disrespected. They were mocked. They were hurt. But how did they respond? With dignity, with patience, with a wisdom rooted in the knowledge that the eyes of Allah were upon them. When someone insults you, don't just see the face in front of you. See the test behind it. Know that Allah is watching. The angels are documenting your every word, your every sigh, your every gesture. This is your moment to rise or to fall. If you choose anger, if you retaliate with harshness, you've given Shaitan an opening. But if you respond with silence, with calm, with dua for the other person, you've taken the higher road. And on that road, your soul begins to elevate. You begin to transform. Your heart strengthens. Your emotions no longer dictate your day. You are no longer a puppet to people's moods. Understand this. Forgiveness is not always for the other person. Sometimes it's the gift you give yourself. Letting go doesn't mean you're saying they were right. It means you're saying your peace is more valuable than your pride. Because don't forget, the one who angers you controls you. Why hand over that control? Instead, make it a practice to turn to Allah and say, Ya Allah, make me among those who hold their anger, who forgive, who choose you over their ego. Every time you hold your tongue when it would have been easier to lash out, you are writing your legacy, a legacy of strength, of sabr, of deep, unshakable faith in Allah. True power isn't in raised voices. It's not in sarcastic comebacks or cutting responses. Real strength is shown when your heart is blazing with hurt, yet your tongue remains still. When your limbs are ready to retaliate, yet your soul whispers, Ya Allah, I leave this to you. In a world that glorifies quick reactions and public clapbacks, silence and calmness are radical acts of strength. They require courage. They require humility, and they require deep, unwavering trust in your Lord. People may misinterpret your silence. They may think you're weak, that you're afraid, that you have nothing to say. But in the sight of Allah, that silence could be the very reason your rank is raised. That moment of restraint, when your ego is screaming and you still choose patience, is so beloved to Allah. He may open doors for you that you never even imagined. This is what our Deen teaches. Strength is in mastering your emotions, not letting them master you. Sometimes Allah places certain individuals in our lives not to harm us, but to expose the cracks in our character. That colleague who annoys you, that family member who constantly argues, that friend who suddenly changes, these may not be punishments. They may be mirrors showing you what needs healing within. Think about it. That one person who always presses your buttons might be the means by which you grow in patience. The way you respond defines who you are becoming. When you let someone's negative behavior dictate your emotional state, you are handing over your inner peace to them. Why should anyone have that kind of access to your tranquility? If someone throws fire at you, you're not required to throw fire back. Let it burn out on its own while you remain cool, untouched, unmoved, and immersed in the remembrance of Allah. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was called names. He was cursed. He was mocked by the Quraysh and ridiculed by the ignorant. But did he shout back? Did he curse them in return? No. He responded with dignity, silence, and wisdom, always keeping his gaze fixed on the akhirah, not the insult. He knew, it's not about proving who's right. It's about proving who pleased Allah. Every time you forgive someone, every time you walk away with grace, you build a wall of protection around your soul. You protect your heart from hate, your tongue from sin, and your soul from darkness. Even within families, spouses, siblings, parents, there will be misunderstandings. Words will be spoken that sting. But your true strength is not in how fast you can retaliate, but how quickly you turn to Allah in that moment. The calmer your response, the closer you are to His mercy. The more you forgive, the more He forgives you. Holding back anger doesn't mean you've become numb. It doesn't mean you've stopped feeling. It means your emotions are no longer your master. You are. It means you've taken that pain and turned it into worship. Ya Allah, I'm doing this for you. I want your reward, not their apology. I want your peace, not temporary satisfaction. And when that becomes your mindset, when your acts of self-restraint are driven by your desire to please Allah, then every trial becomes a pathway to closeness with Him. Yes, some people will never appreciate your patience. They will mock your silence, misread it as cowardice. Let them. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to prove anything to them, because Allah sees the internal battles you're fighting. He sees the tears you wipe away quietly. He sees the effort it takes to walk away instead of explode. And He will reward you for every single act of restraint. So the next time anger wells up inside, pause, breathe, walk away. Ask yourself, who am I trying to please right now? If the answer is Allah, then it doesn't matter who else understands, because that, right there, is true strength, and not everyone has it. Anger is a sneaky emotion. Sometimes it comes in with a storm, loud, overwhelming. Other times it simmers beneath the surface for days, weeks, even years. And slowly it poisons your thoughts, distorts your words, and eats away at your relationships. But here's the truth. Anger is rarely the root problem. It's a signal, a symptom, a sign that something deeper inside is unsettled. And most often, that something is a weakened connection with Allah. When the soul is deprived of remembrance, when the heart forgets the sweetness of salah, when the Qur'an becomes a book on the shelf rather than food for the heart, our defenses collapse. We become irritable, easily triggered, emotionally fragile. But the one who constantly fills their life with dhikr, with salawat, with Qur'an, such a person becomes harder to anger. Their reactions carry weight. Their tone carries mercy. Their presence becomes a reflection of divine remembrance. You've felt it, haven't you? That peaceful calm after a sincere salah. That breath of fresh air after making wudu. That subtle strength after saying astaghfirullah through tears. Salah isn't a ritual, it's a reset. It's Allah's way of saying, come to me. Let me lighten your load. So ask yourself, when was the last time I sat down with no distractions just to remember my Lord? How regular is my connection with prayer? How often do I reach for Qur'an before reaching for my phone? Because the one who remembers Allah builds a fortress around their soul. And Shaitan, he knows this. He uses anger as a weapon. He wants to break marriages, destroy friendships, turn love into hate, all through that one open door, uncontrolled rage. This is why we are taught to seek refuge in Allah when we feel anger rising, to make wudu, to sit down, to lie down, to remain silent. These aren't signs of weakness. They are acts of protection. The person who truly knows Allah, they react differently. They see every provocation as a test, not an attack. They know that their silence might be the very reason Allah grants them Jannah. Letting go, my dear brothers and sisters, is not about forgetting. It's about trusting. Trusting that Allah sees all. Trusting that He is the most just. That He doesn't let a single tear fall without reason. You may not get the apology. You may never hear I was wrong. But when you forgive for the sake of Allah, when you choose peace over pride, you win. Real strength isn't in holding grudges. It's in letting go and saying, Ya Allah, you take care of it. And Allah, He never disappoints the one who leaves matters to Him. So don't confuse silence with defeat. Don't confuse forgiveness with weakness. You are simply choosing the higher road, the harder road. But the road that leads to Allah,